Hello everyone, it's Refresh, and I am here to bring you a battle between two Hour of Devastation sealed decks and the Face the Hydra challenge deck from Theros. On the left we have the Selesnya sealed deck in gold, and on the right we have the Gruul sealed deck in green. The deck building and construction of those videos you can find in the description box below. We will be playing on normal difficulty with 3 Hydra heads, and we will be using 2 hero cards, the Harvester, which will let us loot once a turn. And we will be using the Hunter, which will give a target creature +1/+1 until end of turn. And that is everything. Let's see what our opening cards are. At 7, we have 0 lands for Selesnya, so we're going to go ahead and use the free mulligan that we have. We have 4 lands and 3 cards. The cards are huge, but I think it's worth trying. 2 Rampaging Hippos, a Greater Sandworm. For Gruul, we have just 1 forest and a bunch of other cards. I don't think this is worth keeping. We'll go and use our free mulligan. Now we have 4 lands, a Ronus' Monument, a Head the Eternal, and a Defiant Kenra. I think this is worth trying. Turn 1, we will play the forest, and we will play the forest. And then we will pass turn to the Hydra. The Hydra will draw and will play Strike the Weak Spot, destroy target head. If that head was elite, the Hydra takes an extra turn after this one. A Hydra head will perish. Upon its death, each player will gain 2 life, taking us to 22 apiece, and then we will see how many heads are replaced. 1, 2, 1 Savage Vigor head replaces that head. At the beginning of the Hydra's end step, it will play Cast another card. Torn Between Heads, tapped up to 2 heads. They do not untap during the Hydra's next untap step. Torn Between 2 Heads deals 5 damage to each player. We will tap the Savage Vigor head and the Hydra head. Each player will take 5 damage and go to 17. And then 1 additional damage from the regular Hydra head to go to 16. At the end of the turn, we will loot the Harvester. That will draw Selesnya and Oracle's Vault, which is nice, and a Ronus Stalwart for Gruul. Selesnya will go ahead and discard a Greater Sandworm, while Gruul will discard a Defiant Kenra. Untap. Draw. We have a Ramunap Hydra here and a Dagger of the Worthy here. We'll go ahead and play a Desert of the Indomitable tapped, and the Gruul will play a Mountain, and then tap both and play Ronas's Stalwart. And then our Devastation will pass turn, and it'll be the Hydra's turn. The Hydra does not untap these this turn. We will draw and cast the next card, which is a Ravenous Brutehead. At the end of the Hydra's turn, we will cast 1 more card. It is a Ravenous Brutehead, and the players will take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage to go to 11 each. We will loot at the end of the turn. Selesnya draws a Sandblast, and the Gruul draws a Hyena Pack. We will go ahead and discard on this side the Oracle's Vault, which seems a little slow. And on this side we will discard a Hyena Pack, and then we'll untap. We'll draw. Go ahead and play a Plains here, and a Forest here. We will play a Ronas's Monument for Gruul, and on this side we will hold up Sandblast. Gruul will attack the Savage Vigor head with the Ronus Stalwart, adding on the Hunter to make it a 3/3, and then Selesnya will Sandblast it as well, and it will take 8 damage and it will die. Upon its death, both players will gain 4 life each to go to 15, and each player will draw a card. We have another Sandblast here and a Feral Prowler here. We will see if there are any new heads. There are no new heads. And now it is the Hydra's turn. The Hydra will untap, will draw and play the top card. Unified Lunge deals X damage to each player, where X is the number of heads on the battlefield. There are 4 heads on the battlefield, so each player will lose 4 life and go to 11. And then Each player will also take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage to go to 5. And then the players will loot at the end of the turn, drawing a card. Selesnya gets a Forest. Gruul gets a Fervent Paincaster. Selesnya will discard the Sandblast. And Gruul will discard the Feral Prowler. And then we will untap. Draw. We have a Plains here and a Forest here. Go ahead and play this Forest. We'll go ahead and play this Plains. Selesnya will play the Ramnap Hydra, which becomes a 4/4 thanks to this desert here. And Gruul will play a Fervent Paincaster. And the Gruul will attack one of the Hydra heads using the Hunter to give it +1/+1 and kill the Hydra head. Each player will gain 2 life to go up to 7. And then we will see if there are any new heads. There is a Ravenous Brute head. We'll pass to the Hydra. The Hydra will play the top card, which is Distract the Hydra. Each player may sacrifice a creature. Each player who sacrificed a creature this way chooses a head and taps it. Each player who didn't sacrifice a creature loses 3 life. Now, there is 7 damage on the table, which will kill us. So we actually do need to sacrifice creatures in both cases. So we'll sacrifice the Ravenous Hydra, tap a Ravenous Brute head. We will sacrifice the Ronas Stalwart, tap into the Ravenous Brute head, and we will take 3 damage from the remaining Ravenous Brute heads to go to 4, and we will loot at the end of the turn. We'll draw a Plains here, and a Minotaur Sure Shot here. The Selesnya will go ahead and discard a Plains, because we have plenty of mana, and Gruul will discard a Forest, because we have plenty of mana. Now we'll untap. We will draw. We have a Plains here and a Mountain here. Play the Mountain here, and we'll play a Forest here. Selesnya has nothing that it can do. Gruul needs to get at least 1 creature off the table. And so instead of playing the Head the Eternal, we will play Dagger of the Worthy, equip it to the Fervent Paincaster, which will make it a 5/1 with Afflict 1. And we will attack the standing Ravenous Brute head, pumping it so it is a 6/2. The Ravenous Brute head will die. Each player will gain 2 life to go to 6, and we'll draw a card each. We have a Solitary Camel here and an Ambuscade here. The Hydra will flip 2 cards to see if there are any new heads. There are no new heads. Selesnya now has a play, and will play the Solitary Camel. And now it is the Hydra's turn. The Hydra will untap. We'll play the top card, which is Hydra's Impenetrable Hide. Each head gains indestructible until end of Hydra's next turn, so none of the Hydras may be killed next turn. Each player will take 5 damage and go to 1, and then we will loot at the end of the turn. Selesnya draws a Dusk to Dawn. We'll discard the Dusk to Dawn, because it does not affect the Hydra. And Gruul will discard a Forest, and then we will untap. We will draw. We have a Gustwalker here and a Mountain here. Go ahead and play the Mountain. We'll play a Plains, and then this does not look good. We will play a Rampaging Hippo, and we will play Neheb the Eternal. The Solitary Camel will go in on the attack against the Hydra head, and the Hydra head is indestructible, but the Selesnya will gain 3 life to go to 4. The Fervent Paincaster will get +2/+2, but it doesn't matter because the Ravenous Brute heads and the Hydra head are all indestructible. So we will pass to the Hydra's turn. The Hydra will play the top card, which is a Hydra head. The Hydra will do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage and will destroy both of the Hour of Devastation sealed decks. They lose. We'll go on to the next game on difficult mode. Game 2, we are on difficult mode with 4 Hydra heads. We will draw 7 cards each and see what we get. So the Selesnya has 4 lands and some amount of creatures. That's Keeper. Gruul has 4 lands and 3 creatures. I think that's Keeper as well. Let's begin turn 1. with Selesnya playing a Plains and then casting a Fanbearer. Gruul will play a Forest and will play a Frilled Sandwalla. And we will pass the turn to the Hydra. The Hydra will play the top card, which is a Ravenous Brutehead. The players will take 6 damage apiece to go to 14, and then the players will loot, drawing a Forest and a Desert of the Fervent here. We will go ahead and discard the Evolving Wilds here. We will discard a Desert of the Fervent here. And then we will untap. We will draw. We have a Ramanap Hydra here and a Beneath the Sands here. We will play a Forest here, and we will play a Mountain here. The Fanbearer and the Field Sandwalla will both attack a Hydra head, and we will pump the Field Sandwalla to be 2, so that'll do 3 damage to this Hydra head and kill it. Each player will gain 2 life to go to 16, and then we will see if there are any new heads. No new heads. In the second main phase, Selesnya will not play anything. Gruul will cast a Burning Fist Minotaur, and then we'll pass turn. It is now the Hydra's turn. The Hydra will play the top card, which is a Shrieking Titan head. At the beginning of the Hydra's end step, each player discards a card. The Hydra will begin their end step, and each player will discard a card. So Selesnya will discard the Rampaging Hippo, and Gruul will discard a Forest. And then we will take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage each to go to 9. And then we will loot. Selesnya draws a Steadfast Sentinel. Gruul draws a Desert of the Fervent. Gruul will discard the Desert of the Fervent. Selesnya will discard the Steadfast Sentinel. We will untap and draw. We have a Plains here and a Fervent Paincaster here. We'll go ahead and play a Mountain here and a Forest here. Burning Fist Minotaur is going to attack a Hydra head and will get pumped. Hydra head will die. Each player will gain 2 life to go up to 11. We will reveal 2 cards to see if there are any new heads. There are no new heads. Second main phase, Gruul will play Beneath the Sands to gain a Mountain, and we'll shuffle. Selesnya will play Vizier of the True, and then we'll pass turn to the Hydra. The Hydra will draw and play the top card, which is Noxious Hydra Breath. It will do 5 damage to each player, or destroy each tapped non-head creature. We'll go ahead and destroy each tapped non-head creature, killing the Burning Fist Minotaur. Each player will then discard a card. Selesnya will just discard the Forest, and Gruul will discard the Fervent Paincaster. And then each player will take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage and go to 5. And then we will loot at the end of the turn. Selesnya will draw a Compulsory Rest, and Gruul will draw a Bitterbow Sharpshooters. We will discard the Compulsory Rest, and we will discard the Bitterbow Sharpshooters. And then we will untap. We will draw. We have a Plains here and a Forest here. We'll play the Forest here. We'll play a Plains here. We will play the Ramanap Hydra here. It is a 3/3. As there are no deserts. And then we're going to attack with the Vizier of the True, attack with the Fanbearer, and attack with the Frilled Sandwalla, pumping the Frilled Sandwalla to do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage to the Shrieking Titan head, pumping the Frilled Sandwalla again to do 8 damage, killing the Shrieking Titan head, and then each player will gain 4 life to go to 9, and then we'll draw a card each. Selesnya gets a Greater Sandworm, and Gruul will get Ronas's Monument, and then we'll see if there are any new heads to replace. There are no new heads. And then Gruul will play Ronas's Monument, and we will pass to the Hydra. The Hydra will play the top card, which is a Savage Vigor head. The Hydra's end step will happen. Savage Vigor head will cast another card, which is Torn Between Heads. Tap 2 heads if they do not untap during the Hydra's next untap step. Torn Between Heads will deal 5 damage to each player. We will tap the Savage Vigor head and the Ravenous Brute head. Each player will take 5 damage to go to 4, and then we'll take 2 more damage each to go to 2, and then we will loot. We have a Sidewinder Naga for Selesnya and a Sifter Worm for Gruul. We will discard the Greater Sandworm and the Sifter Worm, and then we will untap, draw. We have a Desert of the Indomitable here, and Neheb the Eternal here. We need to do a great amount of damage. We can kill Big Head now. So let's go ahead and play Desert of the Indomitable to pump up the Raminap Hydra to a 4/4, and then the Hydra, the Fanbearer, and the Vizier will all attack the Savage Figurehead, while Gruul, before attacks, will play Neheb the Eternal, getting the Filled Sandwallow +2/+2 and trample, and the Filled Sandwallow will attack a regular Hydra head. This will kill the Savage Figurehead and the regular Hydra head, netting each player 6 life, go to 8, and then each player will draw a card. Selesnya draws an Haven of Enduring Hope, while Gruul draws a Ambuscade, and then we will reveal 4 cards to see if there are any new heads. 1, 2, 3, 4, just 1 regular Hydra head. And then Selesnya will play a Sidewinder Naga, and we will pass turn. The Ravenous Broodhead does not untap. The Hydra will play the top card, which is Swallow the Hero Whole. Each player exiles a creature he or she controls until the Hydra's next turn. When a head leaves the battlefield, return the exiled card to the battlefield under their owner's control. So Selesnya will exile the Fanbearer, and Gruul will exile the Filled Sandwallow. And then we will take 1/2 damage each to go to 6, and then we will loot. Selesnya draws a Survivor's Encampment. Gruul draws a Forest. We'll discard the Survivor's Encampment. We'll discard the Forest. And then we'll untap. We will draw. Selesnya draws a Bitterbow Sharpshooters. Gruul draws a Roness's Stalwart. We will go ahead and play Hyena Pack, giving Neheb the Eternal +2/+2, as well as Roness's Stalwart, giving the Eternal another +2/+2. It is an 8/10. Neheb the Eternal will attack Ravenous Broodhead. Raminap Hydra will attack one of the Hydra heads, and Vizier the True will attack the other Hydra head. This will kill all 3, netting the players each 6 life to go up to 12, and then each player will draw a card. Selesnya gets a Sandblast, and Gruul gets a Greater Sandworm. Each player will get back their exiled creature, Filled Sandwallow on this side, giving Roness Stalwart +2/+2. The Fanbearer will return on this side, and then Selesnya will play the Bitterbow Sharpshooters. Oh, we have to reveal 6 cards to see what heads remain. We have a Snapping Fang head and a Ravenous Broodhead. And then we will pass to the Hydra's turn. The Hydra will play the topmost card, which is Grown from the Stump. We'll place exactly 2 cards named Hydra Head onto the battlefield from the Hydra's graveyard. If you can't, reveal cards from the top of the Hydra's library until you reveal a head card. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest into Hydra's graveyard. There are 2 Hydra heads in here, at least. We will play both of them. And then we will take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage each, going to 5 apiece. And then at the end of the turn, we will loot. Selesnya draws a Gustwalker. Gruul draws a Mountain. We'll go ahead and discard the Sandblast. For Selesnya, we'll discard a Ambuscade. For Gruul, we will untap. We will draw. We have the Plains here and the Defiant Ken right here. We'll go ahead and play a Plains here and a Mountain here. Gruul will play the Greater Sandworm, giving Neheb the Eternal +2/+2 and trample. Bitterbow Sharpshooters and Raminap Hydra will attack the Snapping Fang head for the kill. Neheb the Eternal will attack the Ravenous Broodhead for the kill. Vizier of the True will attack the Hydra head for the kill, and Hyena Pack will attack the other Hydra head for the kill. This should kill all the Hydra heads, so we sweep them all. We will gain 10 life and draw 2 cards. So that goes from 5 to 15 life, and each player will draw 2 cards. We have a Dusk to dawn here and a plains here. We have a scaled behemoth here and a mountain here. Second main phase, Selesnya will play a Haven of Enduring Hope, gaining 3 life to go to 18. Oh, and we have to reveal 8 cards to see how many heads remain. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 Hydra head enters the battlefield. And then we will pass to the Hydra's turn. The Hydra will play the top card from the deck, which is another Hydra head. Each player will take 2 damage and go down to 16 and 13. And then we will loot at the end of the turn. Selesnya draws a Sandblast. Gruul draws a Forest. We will discard a Mountain for Gruul. We will discard a Dusk for Selesnya. And then we'll untap. We'll draw. Selesnya gets a Oracle's Vault. Gruul gets a Minotaur Sure Shot. Selesnya will play a Plains. Gruul will play a Forest. Gruul will play a Scaled Behemoth, giving the Frilled Sandwalla +2/+2. And then we'll also play a Defiant Kenra, giving the Ronus Stalwart +2/+2. And then we'll go ahead and attack with both of those to kill the remaining 2 Hydra heads. Both Hydra heads perish. Each player will gain 4 life to go to 20 and 17 respectively. We will reveal 4 more cards to see if there are any new heads. There are 2 new Hydra heads. On the second main phase, Selesnya will play the Oracle's Vault and the Gustwalker. And then we will pass turn to the Hydra. The Hydra will play the top card, which is Swallow the Hero Whole. Each player exiles a creature he or she controls until the Hydra's next turn. When a head leaves the battlefield, return the exiled card to the battlefield under their owner's control. We'll exile a Fanbearer, and we will exile a Frilled Sandwalla. Each player will take 2 damage to go to 18 and 15 respectively. Players will loot. Selesnya gaining a Hope Tender, Gruul gaining a Beneath the Sands. We will discard Beneath the Sands. We will discard a Plains, and then we will untap. We will draw. Selesnya gets a Plains. Gruul gets a Feral Prowler. Selesnya will play their Plains, and then Gruul will play their Feral Prowler, giving the Defiant Kenra +2/+2, and then Gruul will play the Minotaur Sure Shot, giving the Ronus Stalwart +2/+2, and will attack with the Ronus Stalwart and the Defiant Kenra, killing both of the Hydra heads. Gaining each player 4 life, go to 22 and 19, and then each player will get back their Fanbearer and Frilled Sandwalla. And then we will reveal 4 cards to see if there are any remaining Hydra heads. There is a Ravenous Brute head. We'll go to the second main phase. In the second main phase, Selesnya will play the Hope Tender and will pass turn. The Hydra will play the top card from their deck. It is a Unified Lunge. It will deal X damage to each player, where X is the number of heads on the battlefield. That is 1 damage, plus 2 more damage from the Ravenous Brute head, taking players to 19 and 16, respectively. We will go to the player's turn. Players will untap. Players will draw. Selesnya gets a Forest. Will get Cartouche of Strength. We will go ahead and place the Cartouche of Strength on the Scaled Behemoth, making it a 7/8, and it will fight the Ravenous Brute head, killing it, gaining each player 2 life to go to 21 and 18 respectively. Each player will draw a card. Selesnya gets Desert of the Indomitable. Gruul gets a Forest. Then we will reveal 2 cards to see if there are any new heads. We have 2 Hydra heads. Selesnya will use the Oracle's Vault's ability to exile the top card of its deck and play it optionally, and will play the Ronus Stalwart from exile. Then we will attack with the Vizier of the True, attacking 1 Hydra head. We will also attack with the Frilled Sandwalla, pumping it once to kill the other Hydra head. both Hydra heads die, each player will gain 4 life to go to 25 and 22 respectively. We will reveal 4 cards to see if there are any remaining Hydra heads. There are no remaining Hydra heads, and so the Hour of Devastation sealed decks win the day against the Face the Hydra challenge deck from Theros. That's it for the games for Face the Hydra. If you enjoyed this video, hit like for me. If you'd like to see more such videos, hit subscribe. Let me know what you thought of the game in the comments. And next up, we will have these 2 decks versus the Battle of the Horde deck from Born of the Gods. Until then, this was Refresh. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.